Let's try e4. Voodoo Lamsky plays a Scandinavian. Okay, that's the way I play it too. Bring the knight out rather than an early adventure with the queen. Let's prevent the pin on the knight and just develop the knight here. In peace and harmony. It's usually not a problem. You just defend with the bishop. Okay, now we'll kick that knight, force it to relocate. And this pawn is defended for now. It's going to come under pressure as the bishop here will put pressure here. But I can develop. Both pawns will come under pressure. But I think if I defend this pawn adequately, then I should be able to play b3 at a critical moment if need be. So he pushes that pawn. Well, let's kick. I'm not interested in trading and opening up things. I haven't got my king out of the center yet. His king isn't out of the center yet either, but that's the trade-off you make. Okay, I'm going to kick that guy. So he's wandered over to the corner. That's fine. Now I could put a knight here, but he could chase it away at any time. I think what I really want to do is get castled. And he agrees. Getting castled is the idea. Now, there he goes with the pawn move. Now if I step up my queen automatically, which is what I was planning to do, boom, is kind of annoying. I'll go here. Oh, he lets me trade. Thought this would be not so great. It weakens this pawn. Maybe I can't immediately exploit that. Anyway, lift the queen up so I can bring the rooks over. Remember to keep this defended. There's a spot in here, although it's protected by his bishop. There's knight here to here. It can't really go there, can it? Because his knight, out of the way though it is protecting c7. Yeah, I was wondering if he could just play that. So I could take, but I'm running into the possibility of a pin here if I'm not careful. On the other hand, if I don't take, I have to move this knight, and it has no great square to go to. Well, taking will not improve the situation either, although I'll lose more pawns that way. But I'm worried. I take. He takes. Well, if he takes with the bishop, I can leave the knight here. If he takes with the pawn, I move the knight, and he's not getting an immediate pin. That's more what I was worried about, a rook showing up here and pinning that knight. So yeah, he took with the bishop. So I can just step aside. Or I could take the bishop and then move the knight. So again, there's no pin. Then step aside. So he's got an extra pawn on the king side. He's got an open king position, so pushing this pawn forward and bringing the bishop out here with check is possible. Putting the queen here and threatening a double attack It's interesting too. Right, if the queen were here, then this attacks the knight and threatens the knight at this, attacks the knight and checks the king at the same time. He can put his knight here. He can do that. Okay, he got his knight. He got his knight out of jail. Hitting my queen too. And I did want to keep this pawn defended. Okay, so if I push this pawn forward, he's going to come in here with the rook. Let's just neutralize the rooks first. Okay, job done. I can push this pawn forward and kick this knight away, get my majority on the queen side rolling. Well, again, if I push that pawn, it's just going to he's just going to put his knight there. So he got away from that. Okay, I'll step up here. Threaten to take his knight, win a pawn. Okay, looks like he's going to trade. And now what to do? This is pinned. And he's going to grab a pawn over here, huh? Well, I'll get some checks too. Should I check first? Managed to chase his king around to get it into an awkward position there. I might be able to mate him somehow, depending on how careful he is here. Queen here. Pawn here. Okay, so check. So I can check here then, right? Is that mate? That is mate. Yeah, I almost played the move that wasn't mate. Let's see, if we go to the analysis board and take a look here. If he backs up, it's still a mate in 3 if he goes here. If he comes forward, this is mate. And if he goes back, and knight here. Is mate. Cute. Is that the only move that mates? I guess if you check with the queen, it just probably results in some kind of repetition. So yeah, this knight sacrifice to clear the 3rd rank here, so you can mate that way, and the pawn covering the escape square. That's a nice checkmate. Let's see. So when was his fatal mistake? I'm still winning here, winning here, winning here. Probably here. I have a 1 plus 2 point edge, say, at this point. So he is in some difficulty, but that queen move was the one that, because the queen is blocked out. If the computer is suggesting the queen should go here with check, then it has a route back into the position. From this square, my knight is blocking the queen's route into the position, so that's why that's better for me. Okay, well, let's see if we can get a rapid game here. Okay, Gordoy Viejo, Old Gordoy. Gordo E Viejo, probably. Okay, so e4, e5. Let's try that. Let's remember this is a rapid game, so take my time. So he's playing a Scotch. He's playing the Scotch gambit. Yeah, I like to not play the main line of the Scotch gambit, but just defend a little bit like this. Because it does get kind of tricky, and this allows you at least to develop the knight. He can take my knight here if he wants to, but he doesn't. And then I'm going to get castled. He defended his pawn. Always glad to see that. He's going after my bishop. Do I care? I can take that knight with my bishop and then castle. It'll give him an advanced f-pawn. It'll give me an open e-file and an extra pawn in the center. I think that should be good for me overall. Let's get castled right away, though. Don't want to run into any pins on the e-file. Then I can't push this pawn. I can bring this knight up, hit the bishop. Yeah, I think the plan should be to slowly advance these pawns. Or not so slowly. I'm going to go with the slow and steady approach here. C6, D5. He's got the bishop pair. Something to keep in mind. I'm going to bring a rook over here, threaten a fork maybe. He can chase my knight away anytime. Yeah, my plan with the knight is just to drop back here and get back into the game somehow. Come out on this square. Or I could put the bishop there. Okay, now things are getting interesting. So he's going to pile up. Yeah, okay, so let's play actively. I'm going to try and secure the e4 square for my knight, so when he pushes forward, I've got a square to go to. If he takes the knight, I take back the check, so that buys me a tempo. But he pushed first, so that was the idea, was I get this square, so I'm not running backwards, running for the hills, as it were. Okay, he wants to take the pawn. I take, he takes, bishop takes. Isn't that okay? Let's find out. Well, now he's slowing down to think. That's good. Yeah, my plan was to take with the bishop, so the knights defend each other. And my advanced knight here makes it a little harder for him to dominate the king side. Okay, where to now? I should lift my queen up so the rooks can connect. I should move my king to the side so I can get a rook on the G file. I guess we will start with the king to the side. Just put a rook on the G file right away and then lift the queen up. He may choose to trade rooks. But if he does, I've got the extra pawn, so that probably works to my benefit. Maybe he wants to okay, I'm not going to worry about this pawn. If he trades rooks and I bring this rook over, I think it's going to be all right. So how do I get my queen to the if I get my queen here, then the knight can come in here. And I'm hitting his bishop. If his bishop goes here, I take it, and it's mate, actually. So his bishop has trouble moving. I think Gordo is in trouble here. Viejo. My Spanish is very limited. Gordo is a name and Viejo means old. E, does that mean and or are? Okay, mate is threatened and the bishop is threatened. And he resigned. Yeah, we can check this out on the analysis board here. Ask if there was any defense. It's -9, -10. That's pretty strong. His best move was Rook G1, and then I take. How about knight here? That's still, yeah, that's a mate in 10. He takes, I take, exploiting the pin. Just start gobbling things up and threatening mates on the back rank. Yeah, he was in big trouble. So when did he first get into trouble? I mean, he's worse here. Okay, so it's just his idea of pushing the pawn forward. It's even here. The game is still even here, and slight edge to white. So white still has the opening advantage. Pushing the pawn is okay. I take, he takes. Ah, taking back is not okay. That's so natural. What should he do instead? So anyway, after he takes, that's actually his mistake, and he's just a pawn down. So these trades are not helping him. And I keep some advantage until he plays there, and then he's losing with Queen H3. Okay, so backing up, what can he do instead of taking? It says Bishop G4. Put the bishop here first. I trade knights. Put the knight on E6. Why don't I put the knight here? I like it here better. Because of bishop here. And now he's got threats. Queen coming over and stuff like that. So to defend properly, so he had an interesting attack then. To defend properly, I have to find this move. This is an only move, the only move that keeps the game even. And then he's got a number of different tries here, and they're all even with best play. So I guess I was okay to take, but it was a little trickier than I realized. I was saved by his immediate take back and opening up the G file, which is kind of the natural way to attack, but keeping it hanging here is how the computer would play it. Let's see. So say if he takes here, I take, then Queen G4 starts to get pressure here. I have to push. So he never does take. He keeps that there and then forces me to close. But now he's got a kind of a majority. He's got 2 versus 1 over here on the king side. I've got a backwards pawn. And he has a wrecked pawn structure over here, but, well, I have to survive first to enjoy the benefits of that. Anyway, it's about even, exactly even according to the chess engine here. Interesting game. Hope you guys enjoyed these, and I'll see you next time. Bye now.